Hey guys, so it is about 1:50 in the morning right now, and I wasn't even planning on making a video not too long ago, but I saw something on Facebook like usual. It was a feminist post, and I just reading through there was one particular comment, reading through some of the replies, it's just gotten me irritated as shit. So I'm gonna talk about that. Now, this post, it was literally from a feminist site, but it was talking about how women who are just starting out in relationships. It was just like talking about how women need to look out for red flags and everything for controlling and abusive relationships, and I don't even really disagree with that. But the problem that I always have with not just a lot of posts, having to do with abusive relationships and stuff, is that it only talks about like women who are in abusive relationships. Like it never points out that that yes, it is capable, it is possible for men to also be in controlling and abusive relationships. Now, sure, okay, women are probably in abusive relationships at a higher rate than men are. But that doesn't mean that men can't also be in controlling and abusive relationships. So I don't understand why these posts ever point that out. Like instead of just saying, well, women look out for controlling and abusive relationships, just say, well, just look out, just people in general look out for controlling and abusive relationships. And there was even a comment that basically said, this is good advice for everyone, because like I said, it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. You can be in an abusive relationship either way. And there were even a few replies that were agreeing with him, but like sure enough, you got the ultra feminists that start coming in and basically saying, well, yeah, it does happen to men too, but it happens to women more often, so therefore it doesn't fucking matter. So shut the fuck up. That's just the typical response that whenever I've taken part in posts like this and have commented something, that's always the response that I get. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't happen to men as much, so shut the fuck up. Just your masculine offense-taking whatever. It's just stupid and not really an argument. Just not an argument at all. Just zero arguments. And there was one comment that said that it's better for women in the U.S., but we still have a long way to go. And I'd just like to ask, how much farther do we need to go? Like, how much farther do you want to go? Because I don't know if I don't know if you're just completely sheltered or whatever, but in case you don't know, a lot of the time, like in the U.S. and other westernized countries, but we'll just stick to the U.S. for now. All it takes is an accusation, an accusation of a man raping, a woman. Like all it takes is a woman to accuse a man of raping her, and that's it. The man's life is over, regardless if there's any evidence or not. Like regardless if the rape actually happened. And look, I'm not trying to defend rapists here. Okay, I think that rapists should be thrown in prison and I think they should be castrated. Okay, I think that rapists deserve the highest punishment possible. So I'm not trying to defend rapists here. I'm just pointing out that that women aren't as disadvantaged as this one comment was making them out to be. I mean, if anything, it's the opposite. Like I said, there can be zero evidence, zero anything, but all it takes is that accusation of rape, and the man's life is automatically over. He's demonized. His career might as well be over. Not to mention all the double standards. If a woman is being physically abusive to a man, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I see it all the time, like in TV shows and stuff. where women just, they fucking slap men, whatever, and it's no big deal. And I'm not condoning physical violence from men or women either way. But I'm just I'm just saying, using this as an example. But like, you see that, but then if a man gets angry and slaps a woman, it's a bad thing. But if a woman gets angry and slaps the guy, it's no big deal. Why? Okay, why is that not a big deal? I mean, what? Because she's physically weaker? Okay, so by that logic, should a smaller, so let's say you have two males, okay, two guys. Should the smaller guy who's got little man syndrome, who thinks he's all Billy Badass, start like coming up to a bigger guy and start just like fucking hitting him and swinging on him and everything, and it should be okay because that guy is smaller than the other guy? I mean, if you ask me, using physical violence just because you're angry against someone is not okay, regardless of what the gender is or what the size is. And, not to mention all the disadvantages that men have. Yes, believe it or not, feminists, the disadvantages that men have in the society, like the fact that, men are automatically signed up for the draft. Okay, and last time I checked, women aren't automatically drafted. The fact that men are continuously screwed over in divorce courts, the fact that suicide rate is much higher with men, okay, workplace violence is much more likely to take place against men, and probably a few other things I could mention. Why don't modern day, why don't all these feminists, like these, never point that out? Like, why, they want to talk about male privilege, male entitlement, whatever. What about female privilege? What about female entitlement? Okay? And there was another comment that was saying that, that men are more, I'm sorry about that, I've been sick lately, but there was another comment that was saying that men are more likely to be narcissists and everything. And I mean, I can probably believe that. I mean, like, there are plenty of men out there who are huge narcissists. But at the same token, I also know of plenty of women who are also narcissists, And the comment also said about how men are always taking advantage of women. So, and that's also true. But you don't think that women can you think women never take advantage of men? Like, you think that never happens? Maybe where, like, the only reason a woman gets with a guy is because he has a lot of money or whatever, or maybe something, she just tries to take advantage of him. Like, you think that never, it's the same thing again. Like, it's not a two-way street, it's only a one-way street. This shit happens to women, but it doesn't happen to men. Well, maybe it does happen to men, but it happens to women more often, so what the fuck ever, it doesn't matter. I thought feminism was all about equality, point like equality, but shit like this just proves that it's not about equality at all. So, yeah, and not to mention, I also want to point this out, in the case of, like, teenage pregnancies and stuff. And look, I understand there's plenty of deadbeat dads out there. I get it. I think that deadbeat dads are very lousy, and I just think they're lousy human beings. But again, it goes both ways. There are deadbeat moms out there, and don't think for a second that there aren't some women out there who will purposefully get pregnant by a guy and lie to him about it, not tell him about it, just so they can get that guy to stay with them, because that guy will be expected to stay with her and to start working to support that kid that he probably doesn't even want. And he can't force the woman to get an abortion, because, I mean, that would be wrong, but, like, he can't do that. So she's going to have that kid either way. If she doesn't want to get an abortion, so she's going to have that kid either way. So the guy is screwed over. So I guess my point is that, well, yes, abuse does happen to women, and women do get into controlling and abusive relationships, and all that is wrong for sure. Definitely, I'm not trying to say that it isn't, but I'm just saying that the same thing does in fact happen to men, and it does actually matter, and that men, in the U.S., I would argue, are actually more disadvantaged, like way more disadvantaged than women, in a lot of cases. Now, I just want to say this, okay? I'm not saying this about all women. I'm not saying that all women are like this. In fact, I understand that a majority of women aren't like this. I think they understand that abuse can go both ways, and that some that women face some disadvantages and that men face some disadvantages. They understand that abuse and stuff like that is it goes both ways. So I understand that most women understand that. I'm not trying to make generalizations here, unlike feminists. And even like with feminists, like I understand that there are actually still some reasonable feminists out there who actually do point this shit out about the abuse that happens to men and stuff like that. But I feel like with a lot of feminists today, like a lot of modern day feminists today, like that shit isn't pointed out. It's purposefully like left out to fit their own agenda of women just living in a horrible, horrible society where rape culture exists, or at least in the U.S. and stuff like that, and how they're treated so terribly, even though they're not. I mean, again, I'd say that we're living in a world that treats women a lot better, that kind of puts them up on a platform, above men most of the time. But again, I'm not trying to make generalizations here. I know that most women, get what I'm trying to say. The majority of people in general get what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. If I go any longer, I'm just going to be rambling at this point. This video wasn't the most coherent anyways, but yeah, anyways, that's it for this one, and I'll talk to you guys later. So peace, and have a good day.